Today I'm going to break down HM3's GTO HUD, showing you various types of new poker information that is now available to all HM3 users. First I'll cover HUD stats, then I'll dive into the 6 new pop-ups for this HUD. 3 pop-ups are to analyze pre-flop play, and 3 pop-ups are for post-flop analysis. To use the GTO HUD, select the Cache HM3 Simple GTO HUD. Let's start with the main table HUD. The first line displays notes to save information about the player, a random number generator. This was added if you want to use mixed frequency plays. We have the player name, hands, limping range percent, the total range somebody's limping, limp fold call and 3-bet percent, and this is the percent of how often the player is limp folding, limp calling, and limp 3-betting. The second line displays VPIP, pre-flop raise, aggression frequency, went to showdown percent, won at showdown percent, total flop turn and river c-bet percent. This counts for all single raised, 3-bet, and 4-bet pots. And the third line contains a 3-bet percent, fold to 3-bet percent, 4-bet range, fold to 4-bet percent, total fold to flop, turn, and river c-bet percent. Again, this counts for all single raised, 3-bet, and 4-bet pots. The first pop-up we're going to cover is the pre-open 3-bet cold call pop-up. The main goal of this pop-up is to give you the ability to make the best range estimations possible. The upper left displays open raise, isolation raise, 3-bet percent, 4-bet range, and cold 4-bets. These are all broken down by position and totals at the bottom. The upper right side displays the total limping range in percent. It also provides how many times a player is limp folding, limp calling, and limp 3-betting. This gives you the ability to play a good exploitative strategy against villains that are limp folding 80% of the time compared to villains that are limp calling 80% of the time. The next sections are detailed fold to 3-bet, 3-bet, and cold call. They're separated into situational, positional, and totals. The second pre-flop tab follows the same methodology as the pop-up I just covered, but this pop-up further breaks down limps, isolation raises, 4-bets, and cold 4-bets. In the upper part, we have positional limps and reactions against isolation raises. The right side shows reactions of the isolation raiser against 3-bets, or in other words, after raising the limpers, followed by situational, positional, and totals of an isolation raise, 4-bet range, and cold 4-bets. The last pre-flop tab is defend. This is the most frequent spot in poker to analyze. More than 70% of pots are single raise pots. For example, if you open raise in the cutoff, you can see that the big blind is folding 75% of the time, calling 22%, and 3-betting a 3% range. In total, the villain is only defending a 25% range. This means you can exploit this situation by open raising wider if you have these types of villains in the big blind and small blind. But it doesn't stop there. You can also see that he's folding 63% of the time against a flop continuation bet in single raise pots, even though his range arriving on the flop is way too tight already. That's why we give you this clean overview of pre-flop defense. As mentioned, these are the most frequent spots to occur, and they also give a lot of room for exploitative plays based on the defending stats, especially as cutoff, small blind, and button open raiser, but also as the pre-flop defender in the small blind and big blind. The post-flop SRP pop-up filters stats exclusively for single raise pots, or in short SRP, except for the all pots section color-coded light blue. Single raise pots means there is one open raiser and one or more cold callers. An example is a button open raise, then a big blind call. The header on top is showing that in this 47K hand sample on the villain, he played 27,000 single raise pot hands with a win rate of 5.3 BB100. Went to showdown percent 30, won at showdown 60%, and a river call efficiency of 1.4. The bottom section is the most interesting part of the post-flop SRP pop-up. These 4 pre-flop aggressor lines, bet check bet, bet bet bet, check bet bet, and check check bet, are all separate branches of the game tree. Underneath are the reactions. The methodology and color coding of the reactions will always stay the same throughout the HUD. Green fold, Yellow call, red raise. If we look at the bet check bet line, the pre-flop aggressor is c-betting flop 51%, checking the turn 61%, and betting the river 27%. So vice versa, the pre-flop caller must call the flop and also check the turn in the river here. The left side of this pop-up is fully dictated by the pre-flop aggressor. The pre-flop caller will only call or check in these branches. Most players don't know that bet check is the most frequent line out of the whole game tree in poker. Also, most HUDs on the market don't cover this. The right side of this pop-up shows how the pre-flop defender can also open up his own branch of the game tree by getting back initiative from the aggressor. For this, he has the three options: raise, probe, and donk. Probe is a bet versus miss c-bet, and a donk bet can also be called a lead. Not only does the HUD show the breakaway points of these raises, probes, and donks, but also the follow-ups until the showdown and again reactions. The 3-bet pot and 4-bet pot pop-ups follow the same methodology as the post-flop single raise pot pop-up. Everything is exclusively filtered for either 3-bet pots or 4-bet pots here. I just covered the most important and actionable items for HM3's GTO HUD. The GTO HUD will be updated with new stats moving forward as well. Use HM3's GTO HUD to help increase your win rate. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the tables.